From the backlot of Skywalker Ranch, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two guys who were C-3PO's fluffer, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
So yeah, no, not really the backlot of Skywalker Ranch, but we're not outdoors again. We're back indoors still.
By the
once
way,
more. Yes.
I just thought of this, and I want to say it now before I forget.
Yeah.
Now, this is about a week ago.
Yeah.
This came out, but we didn't talk about it on last week's show.
Right.
Talking about Star Wars 7.
Yes.
J.J. Abrams
Shooting it on film.
shooting it on 35.
Yes, because you got to get lens flare. You can't get lens flare when you
He's
shoot.
not doing the lens flare. Don't go for the cheap lens flare joke. You got to admit, he's going old school, and get this, all practical. Probably not all practical, but as much as possible, practical sets. Shooting on film,
Good.
practical sets.
I like that. That's
the anti-Lucas.
I love it.
It's going to be shot by the same guy who shot all of JJ's films.
Good.
Yeah. Well,
That guy's
good.
not bad. He's not bad. He's not great, but he's not bad. You know, we didn't get to some of the emails that we had gotten about our two shows outside last week. These were my two favorite ones. Chevelle Dixon wrote us and said, the outdoor podcast didn't work out, but I like that you guys mixed it up. And then he had a question for us about the upcoming fall releases. He says he's looking forward to Spike Jonze's Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, I saw
and,
did you see the trailer? I saw the trailer.
It looks good, right?
It looks really good.
It does look good. A lot of movies look good, man. The new trailer for Inside Llewyn Davis looks great. I'm so excited. I'm going to be seeing the Fifth Estate fairly soon, and yeah. And then he also asked us what are our thoughts on Warner handling some of the Paramount catalog to release on Blu-ray, which is not some, it's hundreds of titles.
I like it.
He says, I think Paramount's being cheap, and this will be lucrative for Warner Brothers. Keep up the good work. Yeah,
If Paramount doesn't give a crap about their library,
They don't.
What major studio will do a better job?
Here's the thing. Warner Brothers is not remastering these things. What they're doing is they're simply taking the elements that Paramount has on hand, and they're they're making Blu-rays from those elements, which are already high def, most of them. And then the other ones, they're just releasing them with the artwork and as is. Many of them from Warner Archive. They're taking things that were originally released as DVDs, making them DVD-Rs, because Warner Brothers has a perceived attachment to a community that likes old movies, and Paramount really sees movies as disposable. It's like fast food. If it's older than 6 months, it doesn't have any more value, and they don't really like their library, which is sad because there's so much good stuff in the Paramount library.
Yeah, but it's not cool and awesome.
I know. And a lot of it, frankly, remember Olive Films has been mining a lot of Paramount titles already. So it's through Olive and through Warner Brothers, eventually all those Paramount titles that they don't give a crap about, we will get.
I mean, I would argue that Olive, because they're a smaller company, might have more invested in doing a better job with these Paramount titles.
I agree. And then we had a great email from Al in San Francisco. Why go back inside? The Digigods must take their passionate podcast to the streets, but why cozily preach to the choir? For your next episode, I propose you and Mark take 1 or 2 day vacation to the mean, or rather cranky streets of San Francisco Chinatown. Plop your gear right onto Grant Avenue sidewalk. Carry on with insider film industry talk while the herds of annoyed Chinese grocery shoppers rush and indifferently brush past you. Capture the authentic sounds of our sage but aimless grandpas, hawking loogie and spitting at your feet with llama precision. Get scolded by bossy dowager storekeepers to get lost. Get drowned out for 20 minutes and run over by deafening lion dance groups gigging at restaurant grand openings. Mingle with Midwest tourists asking you the most commonly asked question in the neighborhood. Y'all know where the best dim sum is? Mention loudly the virtues of the Joy Luck Club and get absolutely stumped. WTF looks bump from absolutely everyone around you. Tour the DVD shops to see how many of your just-announced titles have already been pirated. All this will add texture to the podcast. Post-show, stroll over to the overrated, overpriced Golden Gate Bakery and treat Mark to Don Tot, egg custard pie, our go-to yellow trash grub. If, alas, Mark insists on recording in the more controlled environs of the interior, then how about my place? How do you feel about a moderate amount of hairballs and cat pee? Please consider. Please?
I miss it.
That's one of the best emails we've had in a long time. That made me laugh.
I have not been to San Francisco in a long time.
I haven't either. We should go up and we should do that. Seriously, we should.
We should do a show.
Bossy dowager shopkeepers. I love it.
We should do a show from the plane. It's about an hour from
Oh man, a podcast on the plane?
Yes.
That would be great.
Just put that out there.
And just see how long it takes for the stewards and the stewardesses to tell us to turn our gear off because it's interfering with the plane's guidance systems.
Can you imagine? Excuse me, ma'am. Do you mind holding this this little soundboard, please? Excuse me, sir. Can you move over, please, and maybe sit in the aisle because these mics are taking up a lot of room.
Fantastic, absolutely hysterical. So, Mark, last week we did not get around to a lot of older movies, classic titles. And we've got a few of those, and I would like to call attention to one that was already previewed on the Facebook page. There was a rather lively discussion on the Facebook page about the movie Dolph Lundgren's movie Dark Angel.
Yeah.
Which was released in the United States as, do you remember?
Dark Angel.
Come on, you know this. This was it's. One of the most priceless titles of its era.
I feel like I know this.
Oh, you should know this. I Come in Peace.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, baby. But Dark Angel is the original title, the title under which it was released everywhere else. And the idea here is that Dolph Lundgren and Brian Benben.
Brian Benben. He was married. I think they're still married. He was married to Madeline Stowe.
Oh yeah, I think they are still married.
Oh, she was so. You know, I saw at the. By the way, you know, I saw in our offices last week. John Tesh and Connie Selica. Now, John Tesh looks exactly the same.
I know, which is she jumped ship at the right time because. I remember at the time I was thinking, seriously, Connie, you're giving up Gil Gerard, Gil hot stuff, rock and roll, disco dancing,
Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers in the 21st century, 25th century. Really, you're throwing in Gil Gerard for that like dorky guy with the hair. Have you seen Gil Gerard lately? Oh my gosh.
He's fat.
He's fat and sweaty and like old and just pathetic looking. And she still looks hot, and John Tesh hasn't aged a day.
I don't know, man. I don't know that Connie looks hot.
Yes, she does.
Connie's had work done. I looked at her. She was on the cell phone, trying to have a private conversation, which of course I was not a help in.
Oh. Speaking of, oh my gosh, you know who's had work done? Like the worst work ever, and it happened within 12 months.
Wade Major?
No, Kristen Chenoweth. Oh my gosh, what happened to her? She looks like one of the marionettes from Thunderbirds. It's terrifying. Have you seen that? Seriously,
I actually have.
She looks like one of the Thunderbirds puppets. It's the most sad thing I've ever seen. She used to be so cute, and now she's all kind of Jerry Anderson super marionated out. It's just dreadful.
I don't know what makes them do that.
I don't either. Well, anyway, we're back to Dark Angel, otherwise known as I Come in Peace, which stars Dolph Lundgren as a detective and Brian Benben as an FBI agent. And they have to, their work leads them to basically stop a psychotic alien who is using human beings. He's using the Earth as a giant meth lab, and human beings are his meth. And they have to stop it, or else aliens from all over the universe will be coming to the Earth to like get high on us or some damn thing. It's really it's silly and stupid, and it's a cult film. I don't have the same fondness for it as some of our listeners and members on the Facebook page, but it is on Blu-ray, and I
here you go, Wade.
Yes, I know.
Tell the listeners what you're looking at.
I'm looking at Kristen Chenoweth from 2007 and 2013.
On plasticsurgery.com. Well, actually, no, it's plasticsurgeryc.com, probably because somebody already had plasticsurgery.com. So Kristen is 42 years old, and somehow I believe her chin can now chisel granite.
Yes, it can.
I just think that they all regret it. It's just stop it.
I don't know. Yeah, they need to stop it.
What's the point?
Anyway, this is, you know what, here's the thing about this movie. It is not a great film, but it certainly has a cult following, and it's very much of its era. It's just one of those movies that from, one of those 80s, 90s era science fiction kind of mid-level schlockers that's not unwatchable, it's not particularly great, but it's got enough kitschy elements, and it's a little bit offbeat enough that it's memorable. And the Terminator would have been in that vein had it not kind of broken out. So guilty pleasure. Why not? Sure. Why not? And then let's see. We got a double feature here that is, I think, marginally to be recommended. This is from the Shout Factory label Scream Factory. And I don't think these are particularly good films, but they're they're kind of interesting on a certain level. They are historically significant, and I think that's why they made them a double feature, because either one of these individually would not really work out. It is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack of the two films X-Ray and Schizoid. Now, why are these even remotely noteworthy at all? Well, Schizoid is interesting only because it's got Klaus Kinski in it. And Klaus Kinski in anything is worth watching because he just brings this whole additional level of psychosis to things that would otherwise be juvenile and completely tawdry. And there's really nothing about a crazy scissor-wielding murderer that makes this movie even remotely unique. But somehow Klaus Kinski as a psychiatrist is interesting, and it just makes the whole thing a little bit more watchable, even though Christopher Lloyd is deeply embarrassing in it. And then X-Ray, you probably never heard of. I'd never heard of it. Why is it worth watching? You know why it's worth watching, Mark? Two words. I'm going to give you 2 words why X-Ray is worth watching. Those 2 words, you know what those are?
Star Wars?
Barbie Benton. That's why it's worth watching. Boy, Barbie Benton was a hot number. She was delicious back in the day. I don't know what's come of her. I'm afraid she's probably had plastic surgery as well. But nonetheless, Barbie Benton makes it all worth watching just because she's adorable and she's a bad actress, and it makes the whole thing kind of hysterically campy. It's another psycho killer movie, and it all takes place in a hospital, and the plot is ridiculous, but come on. It's Klaus Kinski and Barbie Benton together again. That's what makes this a good double feature.
Wait, not a big fan of Mario Bava.
I know. I always saddle you with the Mario Bava movies because I can't stand them.
I know, but this one is a Bay of Blood, although I'm a big fan of Kino. I think Kino does a great job with all these films. I really like Kino a lot. And if you like these films, I mean, come on, man, you can't beat it. Mario Bava.
Yep.
I'm just not personally a fan. What is notable about Bay of Blood is that it's the makeup effects were by Carlo Rambaldi.
Oh, that's right.
Did you know that?
I did know
E.T.
that. I did know that, but I'd forgotten.
E.T.
Yeah.
A movie called E.T.
Yep.
Alien.
Yep.
Otherwise, this is just another Mario Bava thing with a no-name Italian cast, and it's on Blu-ray and DVD. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you, Wade.
Yeah.
Not into it, babe. It's just really not my thing.
That's fine.
Also, from Mario is $5 for an August Moon. This one's from 1970, and it was never released theatrically in the U.S. So if you're a Bava fan, you're going to want to see this. You probably have not seen it. It's kind of a mystery. What do they call them, like a drawing room?
Yeah,
mystery?
a drawing, yeah, I guess.
Well,
a drawing room mystery.
Yeah, it's like an
Sure.
Agatha Christie type
Sure.
thing.
We'll go with that.
So anyway, $5 for an August Moon. It's about the scientist who invents this thing that I will not mention because I don't want to give away too much of it.
Right.
And he's got all sorts of offers to buy it, and then all heck breaks loose. So there you go. Again, this is another Bava thing. There's a lot of cheesy 70s blood and guts and crazy effects. Not a fan of Mario Bava. However, I will say, in a movie that Wade's going to give me, come on, you don't give me that. Why not? Really? All right, Wade, don't give me The Fugitive.
It's still a great film.
You know what? It really is a good film.
Yeah.
It really is a good film. Fugitive's terrific.
Which is so weird because it's the only, TV adaptations, TV series turned into movies just tend to be so crappy. But this was, and Andrew Davis, I'm sorry, is not a good director. He's not. He did like that crappy Chuck Norris movie before this, and he's made nothing but crappy movies afterwards. He's not a good director. But somehow everything came together, and I think I'll let you blather on in a moment, but my view is they hired their whole development process on this was to involve 4 or 5 of the best screenwriters in town, and they all brought something to it. And it's one of those rare cases where they got the screenwriter train, the rewrite mania. Somehow it clicked. In one of those rare cases.
That is true. Big fan of The Fugitive, Harrison Ford. Some features here that were ported over from previous Blu-ray and DVD versions. I have to say, I know you're not a big fan of Andrew Davis, but I'm going to recommend one of my, just a terrific watch, is from 1989, The Package. I thought it was a terrific film with Gene Hackman and Tommy Lee Jones. I really like that movie, The Package. But so I'm going to stand up for Andrew Davis in the sense of The Fugitive and The Package.
Totally.
That said, I like this film a lot. Is this transfer much better where you'd want to update it? I guess I'm going to say yes. It is a good transfer, and I do like this film. I think this might be one of Harrison Ford's last actual movies. Might be one of the last films Harrison Ford ever did. And by the way, on the Facebook page, we were going nutty crazy about how Harrison Ford is taking all these supporting character roles.
I know.
Now. It's like he's thinking, you know what? I'm 70 years old. No one's going to hire me to be Superman anymore.
Yeah.
All the movies I do suck. He probably didn't think that. But but here's the thing, though. As a character actor,
Yep.
I don't even know if I buy him. Do you buy him as a character? Do you buy him with Branch Rickey?
No, not in the least.
You know, and here's the thing: when he did Cowboys and Aliens, I thought that was a good move. Even though, okay, the movie is the movie, but at the time, no one knows if the movie's going to be good or bad. But at the time, he's taking a supporting role with a cool director, Jon Favreau, with a mid-career super cool guy like Daniel Craig, and he's taking a supporting role. I thought that was a good move for him. Now the movie didn't turn out to be that great, but I respected that Harrison Ford did that. That wound up being sort of the first salvo in this weird late career supporting role thing he's got going on. So, I hope so, because I was really anti-Harrison Ford for a lot of years. He was just a paycheck actor to me. But one of his last paychecks, and one of the only ones where he earned it, is The Fugitive. Highly recommended.
Mark, one of the great cult films
I see what you're holding.
You do, don't you?
Awful.
One of the great cult films of the 1980s. Oh my gosh, this is just so much fun. Q, The Winged Serpent. This is a Sam Arkoff production, written and directed and produced by Larry Cohen. This is one of the last true Arkoff exploitation films, and one of the last true Larry Cohen exploitation films, at least until he did Original Gangsters. But Larry Cohen, of course, did a lot of blaxploitation stuff, like Black Caesar. He wrote Phone Booth, and Hitchcock was originally supposed to direct that, and then decades later it winds up being a Joel Schumacher, Colin Farrell movie, just on the cusp of when it was almost like cell phones were becoming the ubiquitous at that point, and phone booths were starting to vanish. So you had to make it then or never. And I think today people would look at it and go, what's a phone booth? But anyway, Larry Cohen, also significant because he is the brother of the late publicist Ronnie Chasen, who was gunned down last year in that infamous event that a lot of people still don't think has, the police have completely come clean on. But anyway, Larry Cohen does a heck of a job with schlocky material of his own creation here. It's a silly movie. Let's face it. It's a really silly movie. But, you've got David Carradine, Richard Roundtree, Michael Moriarty, Candy Clark. A pretty solid mid-level 80s era B celebrity cast that makes this whole silliness somehow perfectly acceptable. And it's fun. It's about a frickin' dragon that lives in the Chrysler Building. Come on. How do you not love that?
Yeah, but it's still not as good as Reign of Fire.
No, not even close. But it's fun, and it's pre-CGI for crying out loud. It's silly, but it's a lot of fun. And then we have our list of what movies does Paramount not care about today. I got a little stack here. We're going to go right through them from Warner and Olive. These are the films that Paramount has in its library and has deemed utterly worthless, so it lets other companies release them. So this is what Paramount does not care about. From the Warner Archive collection now, 3 films are back in print that were originally Paramount releases on DVD and then discontinued. They were out of print for a few years. Now they're back. My Geisha, starring Shirley MacLaine and Yves Montand and Edward G. Robinson, it dates rather middlingly. But Jack Cardiff directed it, written by Norman Krasna. Certainly, it's got a following. It's a perfectly solid Shirley MacLaine vehicle from 1961. That's back in print. Also with Yves Montand is the incredible On a Clear Day You Can See Forever, Barbra Streisand and Yves Montand, which I just think is a wonderful film, a total classic, brilliantly written by Alan J. Lerner, and one of the last great Vincent Minnelli films, frankly. I just think this is a lovely movie, an existential romance and musical, and it's fantastic. We all know the song, right? I mean,
Barbra
Come on,
Streisand knocks
come
out
on.
of the park with that song.
How does Paramount not see the value to that? They just, clear day, that Streisand chick, the song, whatever. We got better things to do. We got Adam Sandler movies to make. Give me a break. And then Shirley MacLaine, along with Dean Martin in All in a Night's Work, also from the Warner Archive collection. This is back in print and originally based on a play by Margaret Vesey and Owen Elford. So that's not the best film that they've done. It's an interesting pairing. I don't know that there's a lot of great chemistry between them, but Shirley MacLaine is a lot of fun, and I love Dean Martin in just about anything, even if he's, kind of subpar Dean Martin. And then on Blu-ray, because this movie is clearly too old for Paramount to care anymore, is their remake of Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson, directed by John Singleton. Not good. The original Shaft is way, way better. This was just a completely pointless film and a wasted opportunity for Christian Bale. I don't know why he's in this movie. It's just the strangest thing ever. But you know what? This has never been on Blu-ray. Believe it or not, it is now on Blu-ray.
Lame.
And Paramount.
It's like they remake these movies and then they do. Not only do they do nothing with it,
I know.
They strip away all the uniqueness of the original.
I know.
It just
Crazy.
becomes another movie. You can call it anything, and that's really here's the thing. It's just they could have slapped the name Shaft over any detective script.
Any
where
script.
not even an African American detective. It
No.
could just be a white detective. They just make him African American.
Sure.
Just call it Shaft because it's pre-sold, pre-digested. It's easier to market.
Yep.
It's just really dispiriting.
I agree.
I don't think you do agree with it.
I do agree.
I
do.
love Shaft with Samuel Jackson. It's your favorite movie of all time.
We could play the song. Sterling Hayden, this is now we're into the Olive films. This is what Olive has mined from the Paramount library that Paramount doesn't care about. Flat Top, which is a 1952 Sterling Hayden vehicle where he plays a Navy pilot during World War II. And, it's pretty kind of standard, just immediate post-World War II flyboy stuff. Some pretty decent use of the effects work. It's not quite the Top Gun of its era, but it's decent. Some nicely put together. And Sterling Hayden, even though he was a complete lunatic, this is of course pre Dr. Strangelove, so he's not quite the lunatic that everybody would eventually understand him to be. But nonetheless, it's okay. Gregory Peck in Only the Valiant. This is fun. I actually I've seen this film before. I'd forgotten how much fun it is. This is from 1951, and Gregory Peck plays he heads up a cavalry group, and it's not quite a John Ford film. We'd like to think of the cavalry films as all being John Ford films and John Wayne. This is directed by Gordon Douglas. It's a little bit you can tell they sort of want to emulate some of the John Ford stuff, but it's got a great cast: Ward Bond and Lon Chaney Jr. and it's good-looking movie. Great music from Franz Waxman. Yeah, I think I'm going to recommend that one. Penny Serenade. I'm just stunned. This is such a great movie. Irene Dunne and Cary Grant. Directed by George Stevens. This is a fabulous movie. This is so wonderful. It was the third time that George Stevens had directed Cary Grant and Irene Dunne. They were previously in My Favorite Wife and The Awful Truth. And the chemistry is just impeccable. I never get tired of Irene Dunne. I just think she's one of the most endearing actresses of her generation. And this is just a fantastic movie all around. I'm just amazed that Paramount would say, we can't really be bothered. And then lastly, the great James Cagney in Kiss Tomorrow, Goodbye, also directed by Gordon Douglas. This is one of the best things that Cagney ever did. And we like to think of him as Yankee Doodle Dandy, and when he played when he's kind of stretched and he's not done the gangster roles, we like to think of those as being the great Cagney performances. Gotta tell you, when Cagney is just nasty and mean and tough, that's when he's at his best. And I know that's just casting for type, but boy, he's good
he's
in
awesome.
this. He's so good in this. So this is a movie that is surprisingly mean and tough and nasty even today. And if you're a James Cagney fan, you do not want to miss this. Paramount has no idea what they lost, but nonetheless, it gets the pristine Blu-ray treatment from Olive. And thank God Olive is out there. Keep getting them. keep grabbing these movies. This is 1950 and just beautiful black and white photography here too, guys. Such a good movie.
Well, here's the tragedy. Here's another part of the tragedy.
Yeah.
Literally, on December 3rd, Warner Brothers, as part of its 600 title deal with Paramount, is going to release on Blu-ray a movie that Paramount had no use for.
I know.
We don't care about this movie. What movie am I talking about, Wade? Terms of Endearment.
I know.
Terms of Endearment.
I know.
Oscar-winning Best Picture.
I know.
Don't care. Meh. Who cares?
It makes
Warner
no
Brothers,
sense.
You worry about that. We crunch the numbers. We don't care.
Makes no sense to me.
Is that just horrible?
I know. It's mystifying. It is utterly mystifying. I don't understand it. Mystifies me on every conceivable level.
Wow, that's really a bold statement.
I don't understand what Paramount's doing. I just don't. It's like there's no.
I'm actually surprised that Disney cares enough about their library. I mean, their library is like priceless. I mean, all those amazing. I'm surprised that Bob Iger cares.
I think Paramount just doesn't see. I think everything at Paramount is driven by Sumner Redstone. I would love to blame Brad Gray for everything, but you can't. I think everything is driven by Sumner Redstone. And when you read the Linda Obst book, you realize that Sumner Redstone he's just a cranky, crazy old 90-something guy who thinks he's going to live forever, and he's like living off of his megalomaniacal delusions of having being able to control the universe, and somehow everything is micromanaged, and and everything is about pinching the pennies, and he expects immediate results from everything. And the idea of mining a library for really putting effort and time to kind of nurse and nurture these films and an audience that'll love old movies. Forget it. It's got to hit now. It's got to hit fast. It's got to drive the stock price up in about 24 hours. And if anything else is a waste of manpower, that's what I think it is. I think Paramount is just a complete immediacy-driven enterprise.
Well, also when you think about National Amusements, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a theater chain, right? Owned by Redstone's son at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I believe his name is Michael.
Yep.
So to that family, part of the value of owning a movie company is having not only the movies, but having them run in theaters where they can make money on the concessions and everything. They own the theaters, they own the land. Here's the thing: what National Amusements did that was smart is they don't just own the theaters; they own the land.
I know.
That's on the theaters. They didn't buy the land from somebody else and build the theaters on top and pay a landlord.
True.
So they've been smart, but again, that's smart in a way that might be great for stockholders, but not good for movie lovers.
True.
Wait, you gave me this earlier, and I didn't talk about it yet. It's kind of a one-off.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't really think about the Mets anymore because they're terrible. Although the Dodgers. Oh, Wade.
Yeah, I'm not following any of this. I have a child. What's going on in the world of baseball? Somebody made a touchdown?
I'm going to say that I went to the most amazing baseball game ever in the history of the world. Dodger game. Here's why I went. I'm not a big bobblehead fan, Wade. Don't like the bobbleheads. Don't get it. They're kitschy and sometimes they're cute, but don't want to own one. But you know what? I now own a bobblehead because I really, really wanted to go to the very exciting Rick Monday Saving the Flag bobblehead night.
I have no idea what that means.
You do not know that story about how Rick Monday saved the American flag?
No.
Really?
No. What did he do?
Oh my God, Wade, you're so out of it.
I'm sorry.
It's 1976.
Okay.
1976, Wade. Now, Rick Monday, as you know, is a current Dodger broadcaster.
Uh-huh.
But in 1976, Rick Monday was playing for the Chicago Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Cubs are in L.A.
Right.
Play the Dodgers.
Sure.
Right? So, as the game goes on, this is April 25th, 1976, a guy, civilian, and his 11-year-old son run onto the field, 1976, right after the Vietnam War.
Okay.
Run onto the field, whip out an American flag and a lighter.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to light the American flag on fire in the middle of Dodger Stadium, beautiful April day. Before they can do it, what happens, Wade? Rick Monday storms on the
and
storms
throws
up
himself on the flame.
No, he runs up and he grabs the American flag from those two guys.
No kidding.
Yes, and when he grabbed the American flag from those two guys, it was seen as, again, this is 1976. It was seen as a very patriotic act. Here's Rick Monday saving the American flag from these two guys who are going to burn the flag. And it became one of the iconic moments. I mean, actually, the video of it is on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and look up, Rick Monday saves the flag or something, you can find it. And Vince Scully did the call. So it's great. So I got, Wade, the Rick Monday Saving the American Flag
that's
bobblehead.
hysterical.
That's it. Rick Monday Flag Saved bobblehead.
Well, that's actually a cool story.
Thank you very much.
That's a cool story.
Thank you very much.
I like that story.
So, all right, in lieu of talking about that even more, we'll talk about MLB 25 greatest postseason home runs. I like this disc. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, I guess if you're a baseball super completist, you got to buy it. I love baseball, obviously, but I do like this disc because every one of these home runs is so awesome, and you just got to know what number one is. And if you lived in Los Angeles as a kid, which I did, a very, very young. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, kind of a young kid. You remember Kirk Gibson?
Sure.
And his amazing home run.
Sure, I remember that. That's like that was one of the only times I've actually sat down and watched baseball, and I was like, did I really just see a crippled guy deliver a walk-on grand slam? Did that really just happen in the World Series?
It was not a grand slam. Nice try, but
wasn't it?
No,
just a home run.
It was a home run.
I didn't see
but,
that. In my memory, it was a grand slam.
One man on base, but he was crippled. In fact, he barely made it.
But he won the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, he barely made it around the bases.
That was unbelievable.
Reggie Jackson, 3 home runs in a game. The Joe Carter Toronto Blue Jays home run that won the series for them. It was definitely a fun watch. Do you want to buy it? Sure, if you're a baseball completist. But I wouldn't want to buy MLB 25 greatest postseason home runs. But I did enjoy watching it.
Nice.
Thank you. Wade, I'm a big fan of Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon is.
He's kind of come on, hasn't he?
He is in. He was in Take Shelter, my favorite film of last year. Love that movie. He was also in Mud, which is that director's new film, which I liked a lot with Matthew McConaughey.
Pretty great.
The other film he top-lined this year is The Iceman, and The Iceman is a very intense little film where Michael Shannon plays a contract killer. Now you're saying, oh, another movie about a contract killer, and bam, bam, whatever. This has a lot more going on. It's funny when I had first read about it, I kind of flashed to Dexter. I don't know why. Dexter's a serial killer. He's a cop who tracks down serial killers, and he's a serial killer tracking down serial killers. It's like, yeah, blah blah, whatever. This guy is a contract killer who's also a devoted husband and father. He's living the white picket fence life. So there's some interesting stuff going on there. Not a bad film. Kind of intense. Good mob stuff. Really liked it. The Iceman, a little film, probably missed it. Got a good cast. Winona Ryder, James Franco, Ray Liotta, and Chris Evans. I have to say, Chris Evans will occasionally do a decent film. Chris Evans will sometimes do like a real movie.
Yeah, he has the judgment that other actors that look like him don't necessarily have.
I'm sure
he will do hair and makeup and try to actually stretch a little.
I'm sure his management is like, why are you doing that? But
Mark, the Lords of Salem with this lovely lenticular cover is not a 3D movie. It is on Blu-ray, DVD, and Ultraviolet. However,
it's 4D,
and it's a Rob Zombie movie. Yeah. And which means that it's going to Rob Zombie. Basically, here's the thing: Rob Zombie and the RZA have one thing in common. They're music industry guys who have such an affection for a certain genre, they are almost encyclopedic in their obsession with that genre. Now for the RZA knows more about Hong Kong martial arts movies than I think I ever will. It's bizarre what a scholar he is of those things. What up, Bill Murray? And there's a RZA reference. I bet you didn't get that, did you?
That's from the Jarmusch film.
That is,
Thank
yes.
you.
What up, Bill Murray? Gosh, that's funny. Bill Murray actually as himself working as a waiter in a restaurant, and the RZA just happens to be there. It just
awesome.
It slays me. It's so damn funny. Anyway, Lords of Salem is Rob Zombie going back to his horror roots, which is like 70s style low budget schlocky horror. And I swear there's nothing in this movie. If you didn't know better, you would swear this movie was made in like 1972.
And that's what he wants.
That's what he wants. It's utterly silly. I feel really bad for Dee Wallace Stone because here's the mom in E.T. and here we are all these years later, and now she's relegated to doing crap like this again after E.T. and then Cujo, and it's like it was just a steady decline with her career. E.T. was the pinnacle. But anyway, the idea here is just really silly. It's about this woman who's a DJ. And she gets this record. She's a late night DJ, right? And she gets a record that is this psychotic sounding, eerie kind of culty horror music which is meant to sort of summon it's meant to summon powers from the era of the Salem witch trials and to bring them back into the present and bring the evil up, and blah 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 blah. It's very cheesy. It's very 72. It feels very schlocky genre. I guess if you like this kind of thing, I never found it scary. I thought it got silly at a certain point, but again, I get what Rob Zombie's going for, and I guess it's some people's taste. It ain't mine. And let's see, from up on Poppy Hill is the astonishing new film from Hayao Miyazaki, not directed by Hayao Miyazaki, but written by Hayao Miyazaki and directed by Goro Miyazaki. Nonetheless, this is a Miyazaki film in almost every conceivable way, and it is a wonderful movie. I'm thrilled that somebody is releasing the Studio Ghibli stuff again. This is coming out through Cinedigm, not through Disney, who had the previous license with a lot of Studio Ghibli stuff. And this is just sweet. I don't know why this didn't get a proper theatrical release. It should have. This would have done extremely well in theaters, but as it is, it's going to have to kind of claw its way to an audience here. This takes place just in the emerging from the ashes, the 1963 ashes of World War II, and on the eve of the Olympics. And it's in the city of Yokohama, and it's about a couple of high school students who, and the relationship that they develop. And I'll leave it at that. And I know that sounds like, well, what does that have to do with animation? You know what? It's a beautiful script, and it's beautifully animated, and it is a lovely, lovely film. And you should definitely check it out. It is a special edition Blu-ray DVD combo, and some decent voice casting. I have to say, I'm not thrilled with all the English language voice casting, but most of it is fine. Anton Yelchin, a lot better than I normally expect him to be. Gillian Anderson, Beau Bridges, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bruce Dern. You're going to recognize a lot of voices here. Chris Noth, Ron Howard, believe it or not, actually even contributed some voice work. So great stuff. A lot of bonus features here. If you want to watch the original Japanese version, that is here as well. Most people probably won't, but it's really good. It's really, really good. Might be one of the top 2 or 3 titles this week.
What?
There you go.
Wait, a couple of okay films this week. Probably slipped under your radar, starring big peeps. Arthur Newman is a new film with Colin Firth and Emily Blunt. This is an interesting little movie. I don't know if it's totally successful, but it hits on themes that I think we can all kind of relate to. Colin Firth plays a guy who's very dissatisfied with his life, so he fakes his own death. And I know that sounds kind of stupid, but it's all in the service of these themes of reinvention and whatnot. He fakes his own death and decides to start all over again as a guy named Arthur Newman. And while doing this, he winds up meeting a woman played by Emily Blunt who kind of wants to do the same thing in a sense. So they kind of, there's some romantic flirtation there, and their lives sort of have some, cross-connecting currents where each one sort of responds to the other for similar reasons. And I thought it was kind of interesting, actually. I have to say, I can see this not getting a theatrical, only because it's a little hard to market. When you normally say fakes his own death, you think of some thriller thing where a guy fakes his own death. But there's some interesting emotions there. It's a very hard role to play because they're sort of playing 2 different people. They're both playing the person they used to be and the person they're trying to be now. So it's not bad. It's Arthur Newman. Also Petunia from the good folks at Wolf Video. This is Thora Birch, Christine Lottie, and Brittany Snow. I was not a huge fan of this movie. I can see why it didn't get much of a theatrical. It's one of those dysfunctional family things where everybody is swallowing their real feelings, and once old bitterness comes out, their whole family goes pear-shaped, and it just was really
their family goes pear-shaped?
You've never heard that? Pear-shaped?
No.
That's actually an English phrase.
Is it?
Yeah, when things go pear-shaped.
Oh my goodness, I've never heard that.
Things go, you know what? That's the English version of things going belly up.
Okay, gotcha.
So
right.
I wasn't really into it. Yes, Wade.
Well, go ahead. I got a couple of things I was going to wrap out the newish films with, but go ahead.
I like the idea that Now You See Me did well.
I did not see it. So should I watch it?
This feels to me like a good old-fashioned time at the movies, and that's it. It's unassuming, but it's kind of fun, a little bit clever, a little bit cheesy, but it just feels like something that you would see like in the 80s. You know, that cool little movie that you happen to catch as the second half of a double feature when it was raining.
Right.
And you were surprised that it was that good.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
It's an interesting film. It's got a good cast. Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson. So some of these guys work for like a day.
Is Christopher Walken in it?
Is Christopher Walken in it?
Well, I mean, I just usually when I hear about that kind of a movie, I assume Christopher Walken's in it because those are the movies he always shows up in.
He's not in this one.
Okay.
You need to get off your Christopher Walken kick. I know how much you love him.
Wow.
He's the best.
That's the only Christopher Walken impression I can do.
So no other dialogue.
No. Just wow.
It just feels like it's about a bunch of magicians and illusionists who use their illusion-y powers to run some cons, commit some crimes, and it just feels like a lot of old school, disposable, but totally fun, just coolness.
All right.
That's all it is. It's very unassuming, and I kind of wish more films would be like this, and I'm glad it opened at number one, because you know what? It's not a superhero film. You know, it's not $200 million, but it's got a good cast. It's a good fun. It's a great Saturday matinee-ish, old school type of movie.
Groovy.
Now You See Me.
All right, I will let you wrap out with that next one that you've got in your hands, and I'm going to make mention of two movies that I just pulled out because I always love it when this happens. When we'll get two movies being released the same week, and I look at them and I go, seriously, how is it possible two movies get released in the same week that have exactly the same artwork on the cover? How is this possible?
It happens all the time.
I know. Well, it's usually somebody holding a gun. It's usually some guy sticking a gun. This one, it's just bizarre. It's the old two people lying in bed, overhead shot. One of them's awake, the other one's asleep shot. One of them is a gay film, the other one's not. Doesn't matter. Neither one of them's particularly good. The Blu-ray here, one of them's a DVD, one of them's a Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is slightly single in L.A., and it's got Lacey Chabert. There she is lying in bed with this look like, what have I done, while some schlub lies next to her fast asleep. And the whole thing is she's just moved to L.A., and to try to just start her life over and get sucked into this just horrible love triangle, and it's supposed to be funny and charming and quirky, and it never is. Lacey Chabert is wonderful. I think she's a great actress. I think she's just delightful on screen, and even when things are crappy, I can always watch her and I kind of suspend my my disdain for bad writing. I think Welgo Entertainment picked this up just because it was probably affordable and they thought they could make a couple of bucks off it, and they probably will because Lacey Chabert is charming. Chris Kattan shows up in this thing too, which is just bizarre. I don't know what he's doing with his career. Somebody needs to guide him. Beyond the Walls is the same kind of cover as a guy lying in bed, looking up, what have I done, and some guy next to him with his arm on him, he's asleep. And this is one of those, it's kind of boilerplate Strand gay audience stuff. Nothing remarkable, not a bad film, but, you would expect this to play an Outfest or something like that. And, it's about a guy who, he's a pianist, he meets a bass player, and falls in love with him. His girlfriend boots him out, and then he, through a series of circumstances, he winds up basically being without anybody. It's meant to be a little bit poignant and kind of sexy, but it's really unremarkable. There's trillions of other films out there just like it. It's competent, but not remarkable.
Speaking of not remarkable, Empire State is a horrible film.
Yeah.
Straight to DVD. It's
outstanding.
With Liam Hemsworth. He's one of the 17 Hemsworth brothers. I don't know who they are at this point. I can't keep track.
They are kind of endless, aren't they?
They really are.
Yeah.
Emma Roberts and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And I like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think that guy's cool. I do. I think he can be a charming actor when he wants to be.
Yep.
Anyway, this is a bunch of crap about Liam Hemsworth plays this kid who doesn't get into the police academy, so he becomes a security guard in an armored truck company. And, of course, inside armored trucks are lots and lots of cash. So from there you get this cash heist saga that really deserves to go exactly where it went, which is straight to video.
Nice.
So I'm not a fan of Empire State as much as you may like Dwayne Johnson and or Liam Hemsworth.
I just love the fact that his name is Dwayne, and you would never make fun of his name, or he will bust your butt.
You said bud.
Yes, I did. All right, Mark. Foreign language films.
What?
Shall we tackle some foreign language stuff? We got some good foreign language.
The pile is next to you.
Yes, we got some good foreys. We got some good foreignies. Criterion has given us a gift this week. Gift for fans of amazing filmmakers of the 1960s. First off, Eclipse Series 39. I cannot believe we are already up to 39 volumes of Eclipse titles. This is early Fassbinder. Eclipse Series 39. It includes the Fassbinder films, Love is Colder Than Death, Katzelmacher, Gods of the Plague, The American Soldier, Beware of a Holy Whore. The thing that is so amazing about this is that all of these films were previously out 1,000,000 years ago on DVD. And they all went out of print very quickly. They were part of the Wellspring media collection at the time, which was, went by a number of different titles over time. It eventually became Wellspring. That was kind of the name that the label settled on. And they were all part of that. They were okay. They weren't great transfers, but they were the only transfer of these films available. And they had their Fassbinder collection, and people sucked them all up, and then they went out of print when they lost the license. And then these things were going for like $150 on eBay and elsewhere. And it just got insane at a certain point. Why do I want to have a $150 badly transferred Blu-ray of Beware of a Holy Whore? Well, you don't have to anymore. Now you can laugh at those people because you can go out and pick up your Eclipse Series 39, early Fassbinder, and they are all in one set. And it is worth it. These are really, really interesting films. Not necessarily the best Fassbinder films, but some of them are really, they all have his themes and his obsessions and the evolution of his style. And I think in particular, Love is Colder Than Death is pretty great. And that was his first film. And you watch it and you're like, this guy has got some serious issues and some serious chops. And I want to see what comes of the rest of his stuff. So every one of these is worth checking out. It is a great box set to have. Also from Criterion, 2, and this is just so amazing to me, 2 from Satyajit Ray, or Satyajit Ray, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not even going to try to do justice to the Bengali dialect, but Ray is one of the great filmmakers of all time. The Apu trilogy is out there. The rest of his films are not. And they were restored courtesy of a great restoration effort, primarily spearheaded years ago by Merchant Ivory before all the films were re-released theatrically. And now they are finally coming out. We've got The Big City, otherwise known as Mahanagar, and Charulata. These were made in 1963 and 1964, respectively, and they are freaking brilliant. They are both taken from 2K digital transfers. And if you are not familiar with Ray's films, you got to check these out. Even if you haven't seen the Apu trilogy, which is kind of the great way of introducing yourself to Ray's stuff, you can watch any of them. Charulata is particularly touching. It takes place in late 19th century India, and it's a woman's picture in every conceivable way. But it immerses you in the struggles and in the anxieties and in the experience of this one woman. And it's extraordinary. It's poetic, it's beautiful, and it is just great filmmaking. It's just of the most delicate kind of filmmaking. It's wonderful. And then The Big City is equally poetic, but this is much more about it deals with a different kind of family dynamic and equally powerful on many levels. The extras here are fantastic. You get archival audio stuff featuring Ray. You get on The Big City a thing called The Coward, which is a short film from 1965 that Ray made, where he talks about female identity in India, and it's great. You gotta check it out. These films are just so wonderful. The transfers are fantastic. Blu-ray is a must. They're on DVD as well, but if you don't see it on Blu-ray, you're not. It's just glorious. Have I said that enough? It's glorious.
Say it one more time, Wade.
Glorious.
Very good. Wade, in the spirit of Life of Pi, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yes.
And even Hitchcock's Lifeboat.
Yes.
We have Kon-Tiki now.
Oh, which got an Oscar nomination last year.
Yes, Kon-Tiki is a. Here's the setup for Kon-Tiki. It's a good film.
Yeah.
I liked it. There was a theory in the 1940s,
Yeah.
floated by the scientist. Now stay with me.
Yeah.
That the Polynesian Islands were originally populated not with people from Asia,
Yes.
which was a lot closer than
Yeah.
the Polynesian Islands,
Okay.
but people from South America, which is over like 4,000 miles away.
Wow.
So this Norwegian scientist sets out to prove,
Tor Heyerdahl.
yes, that it
The Raw
is
expedition.
possible
Yes.
for a guy from South America
Yeah.
to make his way 4,300 miles
Yeah.
to Polynesia.
Yeah.
And he did that in the most impossible, incredible way possible.
On a
which is
raft.
that he did it on a balsa wood raft.
That's pretty sweet.
Him, and I think it was like 5 or 6 others.
You know, the original documentary about the original Kon-Tiki won an Academy Award.
And yet this one
Yeah.
only got a
For best-
nomination.
yes, but this is, you know, a dramatization.
I did like this film. I kind of wish that even though you're on the boat with like 6 other people and there's nothing else to do but learn about them, you don't learn much about them. But I did like the physical filmmaking part of it. I thought that the raft stuff was very exciting. Of course, they come up against sharks and waves and all sorts of conflicts that would maybe scuttle their attempt and possibly end their lives. But that said, I think it's a terrific movie. It's
Sweet.
Kon-Tiki.
Nice. You know, a few weeks ago, they released the family-friendly version of The Extraordinary Adventures of Del Blanc-Sec, and now we have the director's cut on a Blu-ray DVD digital copy combo set of The Extraordinary Adventures of Del Blanc-Sec, which is a Luc Besson film that was not theatrically released here, and I think it's just too bad, because this is a true story, by the way, set in 1912, about in which an ancient pterodactyl egg actually hatches. True story. And the pterodactyl rains terror on Paris. It's a little bit like Q, the winged serpent, except set in Paris and with a pterodactyl. And this actually happened in 1912. You know about this, right?
I do.
It's all there are photographs and there are newsreels and the whole thing. It actually happened. It's a true story. And anyway, the whole point of this it is based on a series of books that are. I mean, come on, look at the picture. She's like riding a pterodactyl.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
It's a documentary.
It's a documentary. This is basically based on some very popular fantasy books that kind of sit somewhere between for the French, between the Chronicles of Narnia and Indiana Jones, and with a female, with a heroine kind of running the whole thing. And I think they should have tried to get some traction for this, but they didn't want to release it theatrically, apparently believing that it would just take too much work to generate American interest in a foreign language film with all of these very, very odd peculiarities. There's a little bit of, Baron Munchausen in this as well. But you know what? Luc Besson has made some real crap in recent years where he didn't seem to care about anything. I got to tell you, this feels like that he cares about this more than anything he's done in a long time. And it really does have a little bit of that Baron Munchausen-y, Indiana Jones-y kind of feel to it. And I think they did a pretty darn good job. So I'm sorry this didn't get a better release, didn't get an actual theatrical release. But forget about the family-friendly version. You want to check this one out. It's 107 minutes, not too long by any means, and really beautiful widescreen, very nicely put together, quite engaging.
Wait, you know what else is engaging?
What's engaging?
A movie called Reality. I don't know if you saw this film. You know, I have quite a healthy disdain for reality television, so
Yes.
I like any movie that makes fun of reality television.
Of course.
Even if it's kind of like an Italian-y kind of movie.
Ah, yes.
Now, in 2008, there was a film called Gomorrah,
Oh, I hated that.
which I liked a lot.
Everyone loved that movie.
I did, I
Forget,
liked it
the Matteo Garrone movie.
Matteo Garrone. Now,
Did
this
he
is
do
the
this
new
too?
one. Yes, he
Oh,
did this
gads.
too, which means you're going to hate it.
Gosh, I hated that. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's the ultimate mob movie. Oh, it just does what The Godfather and the others like only scratch the surface. Like 45 minutes into that movie, I was falling asleep. It was like nothing happens.
Well-
it's dreadfully boring. You'll have to explain to me why it's great.
Well, no. People who say it's like better than The Godfather are out of their minds. I mean, it's just a good one of those sorts of films. And that's
Nothing
okay.
happens. Nothing happens.
People get shot. It's all about people getting shot.
Okay.
Anyway, in the film, the main character is a fishmonger who gets cast on Big Brother. Is it the Italian Big Brother? So the movie does have a lot to say about the nature of fame and being on TV and that kind of stuff. And of course, you have like people who want to be famous versus versus fans who obsess over you, although they don't really know you. So it has a lot. There's a lot of satire there, and which I enjoyed. And it's interesting to get that. It's interesting to get that take from a film that is not an American homegrown film. Mm-hmm. It's almost getting a European take on reality television and our obsession with fame. And so, in that sense, I thought it was interesting. I was looking at it from a different way, and it's pretty funny, and it can be pretty frank. And I thought it was an interesting movie. I do think that Garoni's a good filmmaker. So I would recommend Reality. Thank you.
Okay. You go ahead and recommend that.
From the good folks at Oscilloscope, which means they have eco-friendly packaging.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Wow.
I just don't like his movies. What can I tell you? You know what? Let's do some television. Actually, I want to make mention of a couple of documentaries really quickly here. Actually, hold on. Let me just blow through 3 documentaries real quickly. We can cover the others another week. Koch from Zeitgeist Films. This is the Ed Koch documentary. Enormously controversial figure on.
I mean, he died like right after it came out.
Right as it was coming out. Zeitgeist really kind of put it on the line because Koch is such a controversial figure. It's amazing how, this is a Democrat who governed as a Democrat, but somehow it wound up supporting George Bush, many years after the fact, obviously, the War on Terror, incurred the wrath of gay activists for ignoring the AIDS crisis, even though he was rumored to be a closeted gay man. I mean, there's so many nuances to this. It is such a dramatic thing. And I remember, when Ed Koch would make those guest appearances on Saturday Night Live, plugging his books and, just really chewing the scenery. He's a fascinating figure and such a controversial figure. And, he governed New York from 78 to 89, a really pivotal period.
Look, I mean, he paved the way for Giuliani.
He did.
If Giuliani is the one who really cleaned up New York.
But there would be no Giuliani without Koch.
That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
Even though some of Koch's views, especially.
True.
Now, again, look, here's the thing. Ronald Reagan also pretty much ignored the AIDS crisis.
True.
And if you see the great documentary.
The memories of what was it? No, stories from the quilt. What is
it? It's the one that was from last year. That was so good. How to Survive a Plague.
That's it. How to Survive a Plague.
They get into that there, and Koch, who was a Democrat, did the same thing. He ignored it too. So I don't agree with everything that guy was about, but I have to say that he paved the way for Giuliani to come in there and make.
Absolutely.
And yes, okay. Look, as of someone who's born in New York, I have to say that he did turn the city into Disneyland, but.
It was like porn land before that. It was strip club land. It was peep show land.
I have to say, I'll just say this quickly. As somebody who moved away from New York when he was a kid, but would go back every summer to see the family, yes, I would walk through Times Square and I would put my jewelry in my sock. Okay, as I walked through Times Square, I would do that. But now that it's gone the other way, even though it is obviously much better, safer is always better. There is a certain low rent charm to what New York used to be, and there's a certain pride that New Yorkers used to feel for surviving the city. I mean, we sort of lost some of that because now it's all nice and safe. However, if you think it's too safe, go live in the Bronx. Go live in the Bronx and get shot.
I agree. The other 2 docs I'm going to give a quick mention to before we kind of blow out on some television. SOMM, S-O-M-M, is a terrific documentary from First Run Features that is about a bunch of people who are trying to pass the court of master sommelier and become, master sommeliers, which are basically guys who are wine experts, and you have all kinds of opportunities at that point. I mean, there are only a handful of these guys in the world where they can. It's just unbelievable when you see what this actually entails. Like going through law school and med school back to back is not this difficult. I mean, these guys have to know. They have to be able to. The test is, here's a glass of wine. I want you to, in a second, tell me not only what the wine is, but tell me the year that it was done. Tell me what you taste in it. Describe the taste. Tell me, and some of these guys will tell you, yeah, this comes from the such and such winery in the such and such valley of Romania, and it was a bad year. It was like 1962, and they had a drought that year. And and then they'll go on, and for like 45 seconds they'll describe exactly how it tastes. taste. It's a little bit dry. It's unreal. It's unbelievable. I mean, some people obsess on wine to a degree, like, Sideways. I think, okay, get a life. These guys, this is unreal. This is just above and beyond. It's incredible. Anyway, really fascinating. Such a diverse bunch of people. And it's just something. It's a world I had no idea even existed. And I actually met one of the guys, as it happens, when we were covering this on NPR. One of the guys from the movie was on for an interview with Larry Mantle right after the show, and I was like, dude, I'm in awe. I'm just in awe. And the last doc is Stories We Tell from Sarah Polley, which is, you would think this is just narcissism through the roof to the nth degree. Sarah Polley made a documentary about her own family. Oh, great. How interesting can your family be? You know what? Pretty damn interesting. You suddenly start to understand what makes Sarah Polley tick. It is really extraordinary. She comes from a family with all kinds of dramatic ins and outs and nuances, and suffice to say, I'll give you only one spoiler. Sarah Polley might not have been alive today. She was almost aborted. And this is not a movie about abortion. This is not an anti-abortion movie. I'm just saying that's part of the family story. And it is a fascinating. It's a little bit navel-gazing at a certain point, but boy, I'll tell you, Sarah Polley is a gifted filmmaker. I have not liked all of her movies. I thought she's a little bit indulgent sometimes, but one of these days she's going to put it all together in something that's really going to impress me. Just saying, one of these days she's going to really, really put it together. And television, Revenge is in its second season. And it starts up again in the fall, and they are priming everybody for that pump by releasing the second season on DVD. Everything on this show entirely revolves around the performances. And I find the premise to be largely rather silly, but it's a great cast, and you can watch any episode. I've watched 2 or 3 of the episodes from the second season. I don't entirely understand everything that's going on, but it's engaging because the actors are really good. So, second season of Revenge is out there, and if you're a fan of the show, getting primed for that third season, ready to start up, go for it.
Wait, season 8 of Criminal Minds is out. The end.
There we go. I've seen a few episodes of this show, and it's all right. I like I like the cast here too. Why not? Mark, that's it, really?
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
Another Criminal Mind.
All
season.
right.
In the books.
Okay, fine. Another Criminal Mind season. While we're at it, first season of Elementary with Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu. I didn't even know this existed. This is how like fragmented television is getting. This came and I was like, really? This is a show? Johnny Lee Miller is on a show? Lucy Liu's on a show? I don't understand. You know what's interesting? This is like the counterpart, the antithesis, or the complement to Sherlock, the UK series with Benedict Cumberbatch,
right?
Who's not going to be on that show much longer because he's probably going to win Best Actor for The Fifth Estate. And then he's not going to want to be on television.
For Star Trek Into Darkness?
No, Fifth Estate. Stop it. Go away. No, but here, Johnny Lee Miller plays Sherlock Holmes. And in the present day. And Joan Watson is played by Lucy Liu. How's that? Lucy Liu plays Watson.
I like
right?
That. Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's look, we're playing with the whole Sherlock Holmes lore anyway. I'll tell you, I've always liked Johnny Lee Miller as an actor. Always liked him. I always thought he kind of got a raw deal during that time when a lot of his colleagues were stepping up and getting some big parts. And I'm glad to see him get this. He is very good. He's engaging, and it feels very Sherlock Holmesy. It's not quite Sherlock, but it's a smart enough contemporary take on the whole Sherlock Holmes lore that it'll be interesting to see what they do for subsequent seasons. So yeah, give that one a shot. First season is always a little clumsy. This one's less clumsy than most, but let's see where it goes.
I think you're digging it.
That's all right. And then season 2 of Star Trek Enterprise is on Blu-ray. Mark does not consider this canon. You know what
it should be shot out of a cannon.
You know what I consider canon, and you know why this is canon? Because do you know who plays the captain on this?
The guy from Quantum Leap.
No, the guy from Canon. The fat guy, William Conrad.
Conrad.
Yeah.
How dare you?
That was a terrible joke.
I tried to
I know.
support you as
You
much
know
as I
what?
could.
Honestly, Star Trek Enterprise is not as bad as everybody makes it out. It's just that there were so many Star Trek series by this time. The well was starting to kind of run dry. But this is on Blu-ray. It looks really nice. These shows were always well shot. Blu-ray shows off the makeup effects of all of the funky-looking aliens very nicely. So why the hell not? Why not do it? There's some cool extras here, including a 3-part documentary on the entire second season. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, cast interviews, crew interviews, and some audio commentaries in certain episodes. It's just like it's Trek lore galore. You can spend hours on this, just watching the series, listening to the commentaries, watching the stuff. You wouldn't leave the house for a week. Not for a week. And then, let's see, real quickly, The Walking Dead, complete 3rd season. Mark, you okay? You're like vegging out over there.
No, I'm fine. I'm just hearing you drone on about whatever crap you talk about.
All right, well there we go. I'll let you tie us up with that. Walking Dead is the 3rd season on Blu-ray. I'm not as enamored of this show. We should have Corey on one of these days to just tell us why this is just so astounding. Because I'm so over zombies. I'm so over them.
Zombies are cool.
I'm just done with zombies. It's
World War Z, cool.
Yeah, I'm done with zombies, and I think on television it's a little bit tired. I understand why people like this show. It's very well done, and it's very twisty and turny, and production value and intensity goes a long way. Audio commentaries on here are certainly interesting. There's a lot to talk about, but it's zombies. And again, this is plugging the new season, which begins in October. So the 4th season begins in just a couple of months. Mark,
okay.
I will let you explain what that Da Vinci thing is all about.
You will right after I talk about the 2nd season of Once Upon a Time on ABC.
Yeah.
This is a surprise hit for ABC. If you have not seen it, it's about how do I explain this? It's a story about how the evil queen cast
that
this...
show confuses the crap out of me.
No, it's very simple. It's about how the evil queen casts this spell that traps all these fairy tale characters, including Snow White and Prince Charming, in modern day Maine.
Okay.
And so you got the fairy tale people and you got the modern day people, and it's one of those sorts of shows that there was a movie. What was the animated film that came out late last year, where like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy?
Yeah, it was called The Avengers.
It was an animated film where they got them all together. Because the whole idea is that if we get them all together,
The Guardians.
Yeah, whatever it's called, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of sort of like that.
Yeah.
Look, it's a movie on. It's a show on ABC. It definitely speaks to their that Disney demographic. The adults can kind of get a little bit of a groove out of it because it's really well shot, pretty well cast. It's got some exciting parts, and of course, the kids love it because there's Jiminy Cricket, who here has been renamed something else, but there's Jiminy Cricket, and there's Snow White, and whatever, and there's Prince Charming. So I see how it crosses demographics. But that said, look, it was written by these two guys from Lost, so it's hopelessly confusing, and I don't know if that's a good thing, but here we have the 2nd season, which doesn't do all that much to answer the questions from the 1st season, but if you do like this show, I would definitely pick up season 2 of Once Upon a Time. A lot of bonus features on that. And then what else do we have? Wait, we have
that Da Vinci damn thing, which I also don't get.
Huh?
Honestly, Once Upon a Time, I've tried to watch this show so many times, I can't follow it. It turns my brain into a pretzel. It doesn't make sense. My mother-in-law loves it though. Go figure.
Why does your mother-in-law love that way? Go.
She just can't get enough of it. Every time we're over there, she just says, "You've got to watch this. Look, the queen with the thing, but and he's going to do the fizz." And she's just on the edge of her seat, and she's on pins and needles about something that's going to happen. And then, Robert Carlyle gets bad teeth, and then they're clean again, and then they're ugly again, and then there's a witch, and then she's like wearing a dress, and then she's wearing a headdress, and then it looks like something from Power Rangers, and then it doesn't, and I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, Da Vinci's Demons, what's the deal?
It's a weird little show. It's kind of this British-American co-production, I think it might be.
Yeah.
And it's on Starz, and it's all about this Leonardo da Vinci. He's like 25 years old, and he works for Lorenzo Medici, and he's trying to be
a superhero? He's trying to be a superhero?
He's trying to do what Da Vinci did, which is
kill zombies.
Genius.
Kill zombies. Leonardo da Vinci zombie slayer. What's it? Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing with they really build up Da Vinci to be this character who is almost supernatural in his ability to invent these things that's going to like save the world and
gosh.
advance mankind in terms of science
I'm
and adventure
sure.
and whatever. But it's a funky little show. I mean, I don't know that I would like look at this as a documentary. I wouldn't necessarily like base a term paper on it. But it's from David Goyer, who wrote the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
And obviously, this must be something that is near and dear to his heart because he can go on and do a million superhero films. He also wrote Man of Steel, and this obviously is something he found interesting to tackle. So it's a lot of adventure stuff. It's like there's a bit of National Treasure in it. There's a bit of Sherlock in it, and it's kind of interesting. It's a little ridiculous, but if you like Da Vinci and you like the scientific stuff that he developed and he invented, even though it does have that cheesy Da Vinci Code cheesiness to it.
Yeah.
I just said cheesy Da Vinci Code cheesiness to it, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I did. There still might be some fun to it.
All right.
If you're into it. It's on Starz.
Okay. Well, there it is. That's it. We are done. And Mark, do we have any sign-offs? You're not going to do That's the Truth, Ruth for Alexander, are you?
Well, okay, I will.
Okay.
In fact, I'll even throw in the one thing that he obviously wants me to throw in.
Yeah.
As we say goodbye.
Yes.
The last thing you will hear on this week's show is, and that's the truth, Ruth.